And we welcome you back to the Coaches Show on KBPK. Mark Pavlovich, joined by Raymond Vasquez. I am Ryan Osborne. We've got a lot here on the Coaches Show. That includes a recap of Saturday's game, the big hoopla, if you will, the big-time matchup for Fullerton College here on campus, in addition to talking to the coaching staff about what they're looking forward to against College of the Canyons. All that here and more on the Coaches Show.
Hello, I'm Raymond Vasquez here on KBPK. I'm here with defensive backs coach and special teams coordinator, Coach Phil Austin. Coach, thank you for joining me tonight.
No problem.
How are we going to see that ferocity against College of the Canyons this Saturday?
Well, I mean, Canyons is coming off a tough loss, a game they probably should have won. So we know their coaches and everyone in that program is going to be coming out hard. I don't expect to see the same team that we saw last Saturday. And we don't expect to be the same team on Saturday. A lot of guys, I think we had like 56 guys first time playing college football. Get that first game jitters. You know, I got one returner that played last year, so we got a brand new group and just trying to get them working together and getting used to each other and making calls and going up aggressively for the ball. They kind of jumped up and caught some balls on us, even though they really dropped two of them. But so we just got to keep getting better. You know, we're happy with the win, but we thought we could have played better. We don't feel like we should give up 2 touchdowns in a game like that. And hopefully we have a better performance this weekend.
How are the new players adjusting to your plays and being on the field in general?
Well, it's tough. There's a lot of new language and a lot of pattern reading that they're not used to. They're kind of used to just dropping in zones and reading the quarterback. So I'm asking them to do some different things that's going to help them in the future, you know, not just here, but the next school that they go to. So we try to prepare them for the 4-year level. So a lot of the stuff that we run are stuff that when I was at UCLA that we ran, or stuff that when I was at Naval Academy. And you know, we put that pressure on them to make sure they learn it and not try to tone it back. So it's one of those things that it progresses over time, and you keep it pretty vanilla early on, and you keep expanding as you go, and just see who can keep up with it. You know, some guys, they start to fall out early. Other guys, you know, we have a young freshman, Thaddeus Jones, true freshman, came in. He was on scout team last week. He's over here making plays with us today. So you never know when it's their time, you know. Sometimes it's in the middle of the year, sometimes at the end of the year. Some guys, it's not till next year. But they just got to stay the course and keep working and keep battling each week. You know, positions are up every week. So no matter what you did last week, this is a new week, and practice figures out who plays.
Now, you said you were at UCLA in the Naval Academy. How does your time there impact your coaching here and what you're teaching the boys here? Oh,
man, it's such a huge difference. You know, when you're a young coach and after you coach 5-10 years, you think you know it all, and then you get around some coaches that have been doing it twice as long as you, and you know, they kind of put you in your place, you know, and being like a GA type analyst role, I got to learn from numerous coaches. So I wasn't just with the DB coach, I was with the linebacker coach. I spent some time with the receivers, spent some time with the O-line coach, special teams. So, you know, I took that time to really learn other positions and how that impacts my position. So I was blessed to take advantage of my role, and I learned a ton. You know, I was able to bring a lot of that back here, and we're still you know, expanding and putting in. We don't do as much as they did at UCLA. They're like checks and adjustments to everything. So we try to keep it a little bit more simple, but a lot of the same concepts.
Is your approach different for the defensive backs versus the special teams?
Well, the good thing about special teams is I kind of get to coach everybody, you know, all position groups. The DBs is it's one of those things, like if you never played it, it's hard to understand everything that we're doing back there. So we get a little bit more complicated, I think, with what we do in the secondary. Special teams, we feel like we put the best players out there, we keep it simple, and we play physical. And that's how we try to win on special teams. But as a DB, you got to be thinking, your eyes got to be right, your technique has to be perfect. So there's a lot more incorporated into it.
Well, this has been Raymond Vasquez. Coach Phil Austin, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
You did a great job.
Oh, thank you very much.
A lot of questions. That was good. A lot better than Corey.
Thank you. And you can see us more here on KBPK.
Well, we're back, and it's a defensive theme here on the Coaches Show. And, of course, I'm going to bring the person that puts the magic into the defensive side of the coach's team. I got assistant head coach, defensive coordinator Brian Crooks. And Brian, I found it interesting that when the game ended, we saw you out in the parking lot. We talked about the game, and you said it was a little difficult because we didn't have any tape on this team, so it's hard to coach against that. You know, can you explain a little more of that to me? Because I'm sitting there going, okay, yeah, you didn't get to see him, but you run pretty simple defenses.
Yeah, but it's good. I always go off of personnel, and a lot of my defensive calls, or most of my defensive calls, are on who they are, who's their personnel, who's their tight end, who's their receivers, and then we like to get a film of their players and see who's out there, who we're gonna guard more often, and take it out of the game a little bit. So it was new, not knowing who they had. You know, we kind of went to the scrimmage and saw them play, but we didn't know what they had from last year's team. So it was just adjustments had to be made a little bit. And then you got saw in the second quarter where they kind of adjusted to us, and then we had to adjust back and take some stuff away. So that's why I like watching film on people, because it gets you ready to play your opponent.
You know, every once in a while when I talk to Garrett Campbell and I ask him about game plan, and I'll say, you know, when do you show everything? And he goes, well, a little each week, a little each week. I know, again, when I look at your defense, you usually tell me, well, I don't change a lot. So you're playing College of the Canyons. So am I going to see the same defense that I saw this last week here at Fullerton?
Well, hopefully be better. Well, another week of practice. Go a little faster. Know what we're doing a little more. We had some mental busts last week. Some of the emotion stuff got us, and our guys not communicating enough. So hopefully we got that down where we come out a little better. But our defense is not going to change. We do what we do. We play fast, we blitz, we get after people, and people know what's going to happen. You just got to try to block it and get plays on us.
We had a big ceremony before, and I know when you played here, your brothers played here, so I've got to wonder if there was something sort of special for the Crooks family where you finally got a home field. Did your brothers and you sort of look at each other and reminisce about the old days when all of you were players here, not you being a coach, but go back through the years of when you were players here at Fullerton College?
Well, yeah, I saw some guys I played with that I haven't seen in a while. You know, Jason Nevadomski came by, and I haven't seen him in a long time, and it was good seeing him. But yeah, my brothers and my family came. My one brother's here. My other brothers are out of state in Phoenix, but you know, my nephew also played here too. So we've had 4 of us in the family play here. And if you go in the office, you'll see my nephew has a picture right outside my office. And you go in my office, my brother's got his picture of him going to Eastern Michigan in my office. So, you know, my parents are here taking pictures, and they really never been in this building a lot and seeing this stuff. So they're excited to come down and see all this stuff. All the family came down. All my brother's kids came down, saw this picture on the wall. They started going, oh, that's my dad, that's my dad. And, you know, Justin's showing this picture over there. So this place has been pretty special for our family. You know, all 4 of us, my nephew and 3 of my brothers came through here, and we all got scholarships out of here. You know, so, you know, we owe a lot to what we're doing right now to Fullerton College.
Okay, I don't know if we'll use this or not, but I need to get certification. And if you don't want an answer, I get it. But love Hal Sherbeck. I knew Hal Sherbeck. I watched him. I've interviewed him. I've got a 15-minute interview with him. We had a love affair as a broadcaster and a coach. Then I look at Tim, and I love Timmy as a coach and everything else. When you put coaches or you look at greatness, can I put Tim, because he's got the 2 national championships here at Fullerton College, in the same breath with Hal Sherbeck?
I think you can. You know, Tim had 20 more years that Hal did, that type of program that Tim was building. I think he could have matched what Sherbeck was doing, even maybe exceeded it. Hal Sherbeck's a great coach. I'm not taking anything from him. You know, he's a legend. But, you know, Tim was only here as head coach for 10 years. So I think given 20 more years, we had our program rolling pretty good. You know, we had a 33-game win streak going, and we were rolling pretty good. And, you know, G. Murphy and Tim Burns pretty much gave me everything I have. You know, G. Murphy hired me here. I played for G. Murphy. Then when I wanted to coach, he hired me to get my first coaching job. And then Tim Burns got me my full-time job here, and fought for me to get my full-time job here. So, you know, I owe all my career to those 2. And I think if Tim would have had a couple more years, I think it would have been the same breath, so getting the 2 national championships and going on. And the kids he was sending out too. And we're averaging, you know, 40 kids a year going out. So, you know, I think you can talk about Tim in that same breath.
Assistant head coach, defensive coordinator, shows you what a smart man he is, because he just agreed with me. A friend of ours, always been a friend, and it's a pleasure to have him on the air. One of the best community college coaches around the country. And this year, another national championship. That's how I'm looking at it. Brian, thank you for everything, and thanks for coming on the air with us.
Well, I'm looking at game 2. I'm not looking at national championship. Yeah, game 2. That's all we need right now.
Game 2, College of the Canyon, with Coach Brian Crooks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So we want to thank Brian Crooks in addition to Phil Austin for joining us here on the Coaches Show this week. And guys, you take a look at this last Saturday. I'll actually start over with Mark. Much anticipation. I know you, as the voice of the Hornets, you were looking forward to this day for a very long time.
Yeah, 24 years worth of this through Gene Murphy, Tim Burns along the way. And then we look at Garrett Campbell, who is here now. Well, I'll go all the way back to Hal Sherbeck. He wanted a stadium too, even though his players would tell you Fullerton High School was. It wasn't. I don't care what they say. It was outstanding. It was outstanding. The reception was great. We had a sellout for the game. We were packed. Come to every game. Let me tell you, the students are free. If you've got nothing to do, let me quote Corey Nalen. There is nothing better than a community college football game. It's inexpensive, it's fun to watch, and those D1 players that become National Football League players, you get to see them now. Come and see every home game here at Fullerton College.
I'll switch it over to Raymond. Raymond, you know, you got an opportunity that not very many people get. You got to talk to the alumni, got to experience what that reception was like prior to this matchup. What was your impression from talking to all these former Hornets who had the opportunity to come back here to see the first home game on campus?
Well, the first thing I would say is pride. Pride in their team, pride in their legacy, just pride to be here. The legacy could be felt from everywhere. I mean, they were so happy to be able to see their players, to see a team here, and to see an actual field for the players to be at. So talking with the players and alumni here, they just couldn't be happier to see the development and the legacy that they started continuing.
When you look at Fullerton College, yes, they were able to use their home field for the first time in program history here on campus, but they're not going to enjoy it coming up this Saturday. They're going to take a trip up to College of the Canyons. Mark, in the past, what we have seen, and I'll include you in on this, Raymond, you're brand new to this Fullerton College program and also the Coaches Show. So when we talk about Fullerton College and Canyons, it's always a run, gun, and high-scoring matchup. I'll swing it over to Mark. The reason being because Canyons and Fullerton have combined for a minimum of at least 40 points in each of their last 6 matchups. And Mark, if you're looking at this Fullerton College defense, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach going up against the Canyons team that's reeling from being dominated by Citrus.
Well, and I think it doesn't matter when you look at Fullerton and College of the Canyons playing each other, because it's 2 teams that don't like each other. It's 2 programs that may respect each other but don't like each other. And we've seen that last year, first half, hey, we're getting run out of the house. It looked like College of the Canyons was going to just send us home with tears running down our face. We as broadcasters all looked at each other. We talked to Brian Crooks. Even Brian Crooks said that first half, we just figured, hey, we were done. And then Ryan, that second half, it was 2 different ball games. Fullerton woke up. College of the Canyons realized we're in the fight for our lives. And at the end of the day, the Hornets came out victorious. I expect that same attitude this Saturday at 5 o'clock when you go to sportsnetusa.net and the homepage at Fullerton College to watch the game.
So speaking of, we're going to remind you that there is a new schedule change for this Saturday. So it's no longer the 1 p.m. matchup. Plain and simple, that was going to be a very hot type game. 95-97 is what was predicted. That changes, now a 5 p.m. start with about 90 to 88 as the high. So things change. It's no longer 1 p.m., it's now at 5. If you want to keep up to date, make sure you continue to look at the Fullerton College Athletics webpage. They will keep you updated on whether or not that time changes once more. So this upcoming weekend, Fullerton and College of the Canyons at College of the Canyons. That's a 5 p.m. start on sportsnetusa.net. You can also watch along on the FC Hornets Athletic website. Now, very quickly before we get on out of here, Raymond, I want to thank you once again for joining us here on the Coach Show this week. Mark as well with your interview with Brian Crooks. We want to remind you where you can find the Coach's Show and content from KBPK on Instagram at 90.1 KBPK. On YouTube, it's just as simple as at KBPK. Keep up to date with all the things that we have coming up. Raymond Vasquez, Mark Pavlovich, I am Ryan Osborne, thanking you for joining us here on The Coaches Show on KBPK.